Hello guys, today I want to show you one of the most keenly awaited matches between two excellent players, Magnus Carlsen and Hikaru Nakamura. This particular match impressed me back in the day in 2013 when I watched it on the website. Basically how seemingly easy and with what complexity at the same time Magnus Carlsen won. So it's known that he has an excellent score against Hikaru Nakamura, and some people say that he knows his phone number, kind of expecting and understanding very well what Hikaru will play. And we'll see it in this game as well. So Carlsen played e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6. So it is 2013, and I don't think that Magnus really expected this opening for Hikaru. He also played a lot of Ruy Lopez's and Berlin defense in particular. But today this position occurs in every elite tournament many times, given that all the tournaments now are online. So this Sveshnikov Sicilian after Carlsen match has become just overwhelmingly popular. d4 takes, and d5. This is improved Sveshnikov. The normal Sveshnikov is knight to f6, knight to b5, d6, and I think in this position Magnus didn't expect that it will occur in his home preparation, so he played g3. This is very typical move for Carlsen. He is not trying to refute the openings immediately like Kasparov did, but he just slightly step-by-step builds an advantage and then viciously outplays the opponent in the middle game. h5 plays Nakamura. This is a typical internet style chess move, trying to start an attack immediately. It's definitely that Nakamura understood at that time already that Magnus tries to grind the opponent, and he doesn't want to be ground for 80 or more moves and lose in the end game. He wants to make the game as sharp as possible and show his calculation capabilities, rather than to try to play a slow game and suffer for so many hours. Let's see, c3, a6, d3, b5. So this is quite typical. Already it's possible that Nakamura was on his own. At this point, h4 was suggested by some commentators, continuing playing in this aggressive style, because let's say if bishop to g4, then h3 is unpleasant, and you can play bishop to f3 because of the knight d4 taking the commanding square and attacking the bishop. And also all the light squares, which is the theme of this game, will be taken by black. And so white would have to play bishop to f1 and let's say b5, knight d5, and knight to e7. So this position is about equal, and actually it's hard for white to attack this h3 pawn. But Nakamura played b5, more standard, knight to d5. The idea of this move is to start developing. He doesn't want to allow this b4, and the plan of white is to play bishop to e3 and c4 at some point. Knight g7, bishop g2, and bishop to g4. So Nakamura is trying to force white to play f3. At this point, you weaken in your king side, and with the threat of h4 at every move, it can cost white a lot. But so Carlsen didn't have any, let's say, didn't see any ghosts, and he thought that he's winning a tempo, and he played it f3, bishop to e6, c3, h4, and knight c2. So before every operation he's building up, and he's ignoring basically black's threats. He wants to take all these squares, in particular d4, under firm control, and then only start the aggressive plans against his opponent. Bishop takes d5, takes, and knight f5, and takes knight a5 and f4. So Nakamura has placed his knight to a5, and it stands on the side of the board. This is not the best square for the knight, of course. He didn't want to go back to b8, but I think I'd play this move, knight back, and then maneuver it somewhere. But he wanted to place it on c4 and attack the bishop on e3. So Carlsen evaluated the position, and he decided that it's time to open up the game, because this bishop is not developed, this knight stands bad, this rook is not playing, so it's good to open up the game. f4, knight to f5. Generally, it's considered that h takes g is better. So after this, takes, and queen to d7, black is better. I think they could consider even playing long castles, and so this is threat also to this point and this point. So the position is unclear. He played knight to f5, and in this position, I think it is the move of the game. Maybe Hikaru underestimated it. Magnus played g4. So now he removed this attack of black on this g3. He avoided exchange of rooks, and this rook here, which was standing quite actively and ready to exchange, now it's completely out of work. It doesn't have any squares to go to, and it only protects this h4 pawn. So h3 played Hikaru, bishop a4, and knight to h4. So Kasparov also commented on this game, and he evaluated that this might be the losing move for black, because Hikaru tried to play on the dark squares, and he gave up this light square bishop, thinking that with the firm control of the dark squares he can, let's say, make this game close. But the problem is that knight on g2 is not doing anything. So Magnus just castled g6, protecting the f5 square, and maybe trying to move the bishop to h6, in h1, avoiding these checks from b6, bishop to g7, and f5. So this position already winning for white, and there are lots of winning moves. Just the idea is that at that point Magnus is very good at intuitive play, and understood what Hikaru was thinking. And so he saw that he might err somewhere around this move, and he played just for intuition for f5. I think I'd play something like queen to e2 or develop bishop, but just hard to open up the game when your king is not that well placed, but of course I'm not number one in the world. So takes, and Hikaru played knight to g2. This actually a mistake, like just plummeting black. The control of dark squares is no more necessary. White is playing on the light squares, and it's like light square symphony, because this queen here comes, and black just has no resources, no coordination between pieces to stay alive. f6, very nice move. If so queen cannot capture because rook protects this this pawn, and if bishop takes, then queen to f3, and you see that this bishop is pinned. Rook cannot protect it because of the bishop, and if bishop moves somewhere, then just in a couple of moves white will win. So very nice pawn sacrifice. Also black had, let's say, this idea, but this was the idea of Magnus, to play bishop to g5, and again attacking this bishop, and if bishop moves, then it's mate in one. All right, so f6, bishop to f8, queen f3, king remains in the center, queen c7, knight to b4, knight to b7, and knight to c7. So this is a final nail into black's coffin. This pawn here and this knight, they absolutely control all the black's position, and black is not able to untie themselves. They just see the last moves. Knight to c5, bishop f5, knight to d7, bishop to g5, queen to h5, creating another valuable pin on this f7 square, and preparing to play bishop to e6, and knight to b6, bishop to e6, takes, and takes. Very nice position where black resigned. Just the attack is unstoppable. If we take, then f7 is mate. Alright, thank you very much, and see you next time.